Am I the a-hole for not apologizing for withholding financial support until my son passed a paternity test? Throwaway account, because I do not intend to post regularly and will return to simply reading. I, 55M, have 3 children, 2 daughters and 1 son. My son is my oldest, and until recently, I believed he was a decent man. Unfortunately, my daughter-in-law, Tessa, 32F, fake name, showed me that I was wrong. She revealed that she was divorcing my son because he had cheated on her multiple times and gave her a sexually transmitted disease. She made a social media post with screenshots of text messages and video recordings of voicemails he left, all of which supported her claims. I was shocked. When I confronted my son, he said she was exaggerating and claimed that the only reason he cheated was because she wasn't putting out. Tessa gave birth to their second child 7 months ago, and their first child is 3 years old. I apologized to Tessa for my son's behavior and then confronted him for being selfish, intentionally hurtful, and cruel. I did not hide or minimize my disappointment and was only silenced by my wife, who defended our son. I clearly remember how difficult it was when my wife gave birth to our second daughter, and I could not believe she had no sympathy for Tessa. Tessa is a kind and intelligent person, and she did not deserve what my son did to her. Despite my objections, my wife allowed our son to stay in our home, insisting that he needed our support. I disagreed, believing he needed to face consequences for his actions. This became a constant source of conflict between us. Eventually, my son accused Tessa of contracting the STD from someone else and demanded a paternity test. I knew these claims were false and completely lost my temper. I yelled at him, and my wife once again defended him, saying that a man had the right to know whether his children were biologically his. In response, I demanded a paternity test of my own. My wife was deeply offended, and I moved out of the house. After that, my wife and son turned others against me, lying and exaggerating about what was happening at home. I grew exhausted defending myself and was prepared to let the situation go, until my wife or son contacted my workplace and made harmful accusations about a female employee I had been mentoring for the past year. That was my breaking point, and I filed for divorce. Our house is paid off, and I am willing to let my wife have it, but until a judge orders otherwise, I stopped depositing money into accounts she can access. I only make payments to a credit card with a $4,000 limit so she can buy groceries, get gas, and cover basic expenses. I also changed my primary beneficiaries to my daughters and told my son that if he wanted even a single cent from me, he would need to take a DNA test. He eventually did and passed. I responded with an email acknowledging that he is my son, along with a copy of my updated will showing that he will receive 10% of my assets. My wife and son are now demanding a public apology, but I do not believe they deserve one. Am I wrong? Edit. To clarify, my wife contacted my workplace and accused one of my mentees of receiving special treatment in exchange for inappropriate favors from me and other men in the company. She made such a public scene that Human Resources launched an investigation. My mentee is now considering leaving the company due to the embarrassment and stress. This has also damaged my professional reputation. Update 1. Because people continue to ask for updates, I thought I would provide one. The young woman I was mentoring has spoken with Human Resources and is leaving the company. She plans to sue my wife for defamation. Although Human Resources cleared me of any wrongdoing, I am being pressured to leave my job. Many coworkers now treat me coldly or avoid me entirely. I have hired a lawyer who believes that, due to the clear evidence of my wife's attempt to sabotage my reputation, I may be able to offer a lump sum settlement instead of paying alimony. My lawyer also agrees with many of you that I should not simply give my wife the house, but instead sell it and split the profits. I have moved back into the house per my lawyer's advice, though the environment is extremely unpleasant. I have been drinking more than I used to just to cope. I have had several difficult but honest conversations with my daughters and have come to accept that I failed in certain aspects of fatherhood. While I attended school events and spent time with my children, I allowed my wife to handle most of the parenting, and she heavily favored our son. I did not fully recognize this at the time, and my daughters did not feel comfortable speaking up until now. Despite this, they are willing to maintain a relationship with me and support me through the divorce. I have not spoken much with my daughter-in-law, but she did send me a brief text thanking me for standing up for her. Thank you to everyone who took the time to read this. Final update, hello, and Happy New Year to those who celebrate. I forgot about this account until recently and decided to provide a final update for those who are interested. I filed for divorce several months ago and returned to the house at my lawyer's recommendation, but my wife and son made living there extremely difficult. I ultimately had to record video evidence of them harassing me and present it to a judge. Only then did they stop, under threat of being forced to vacate the home. I now have locks on my bedroom and office doors and keep a small refrigerator in my office. I frequently go to my oldest daughter's house for dinner, both for peace and for the opportunity to have meaningful conversations. I have also attended video therapy sessions with my youngest daughter to help her work through unresolved issues. Despite everything, my daughters have decided they want me in their lives. They see that I am making an effort to listen and respect their boundaries, and our relationships are now stable. I left my job but received a decent severance package. I now work as a freelance consultant in the same field. While the pay and job security are lower, the flexibility allows me to spend more time helping with my grandchildren, my daughter's children, not my son-in-law's. My daughter-in-law has chosen to keep her distance until the divorce is finalized and she has primary custody of both children. My son is allowed overnight visits with the oldest child but rarely exercises them. He has not visited the youngest child, who is still an infant and prefers breastfeeding to formula. My former mentee is suing my wife, who had the audacity to ask me to pay her legal fees. Even her divorce attorney made this request. My wife is also attempting to claim the house. The lawsuit is likely to be settled, with the payout coming from her portion of the house sale. She attempted to delay the sale by refusing to approve repair contractors and disputing the home's value. It ultimately required a court order for her to cooperate. I will likely have to cover the repair and realtor fees up front to move the process along, but the judge ruled that the more I contribute to preparing the house for sale, the less I will owe my wife in the final settlement. I consider that a win.